Hello, everyone. In this video, we're going to show you how to amend consolidated sales and use tax return. This is a logged in activity, so you must have a Maine tax portal username and be logged in to do this. We'll begin on the logged in homepage in the summary tab, and we'll navigate down to the sales and use tax panel, where we'll click the option to view and file returns. And we'll click View or Amend Return for the period for which we'd like to amend. This brings us to the default mode, which is View. Since we'd like to amend, we'll click the Amend hyperlink in the top right-hand corner of the screen. This makes the page editable. We begin on the demographic information page, where we do have a few notes before we continue. First, there is an alert at the top of the screen that tells you that you are filing a consolidated return. If a location has closed, please go to Manage Locations under your Account tab and remove the location that is no longer active. For more information, please see our video on managing branch locations. Any required fields on this page or throughout the rest of the return filing are indicated by either a red asterisk or a red circled I. You will be unable to continue until all of these fields have been completed. On this screen, the only required field is our reason for amending, so we'll select the most applicable option from the drop-down menu. For other notes, we'd like to draw your attention to the Save Draft button at the bottom of the page. You may click this at any time to save your progress and continue later. You can also click the Cancel button. This will not save your progress. Or you can navigate to a previous page by clicking either the Previous button or by clicking on a previous page name in the blue bar at the top. For now, we'll click Next to proceed. Next, we are brought to the sales breakdown page. Values from our original return are auto-populated. You only need to correct the fields that are being changed as a result of this amended return. If you are unclear on what is being asked for on a given line, you may click the blue text in the line title for more information. After you have filled in or corrected all applicable fields, you may click Next to proceed. Next, we are brought to the consolidated page where we can see instructions for importing our consolidated schedule. We do encourage you to read these thoroughly before you begin. These instructions will tell you to download a consolidated schedule, which you'll fill in based on the instructions and based on you and your situation, and then re-upload. Since we already have our consolidated schedule prepared, we'll click on the Upload Consolidated hyperlink, browse for our file. Once our file is selected, we'll click OK. We can see that this is populated values in the total sales and use column. We'll confirm that these appear right and click Next to proceed. If any of your branch locations on the consolidated page had $0 in the total sales and use column, you'll see an additional page before this sales screen asking you to confirm the $0 amount for that location. After doing so, or if you did not have a location with $0 in total sales and use, you'll be brought to the sales page that we are on now. On this page, and on the next few screens as well, the values have auto-populated based on the consolidated schedule that we imported. When reviewing the values on each of these screens, if you notice that a correction needs to be made, you can navigate back to the consolidated page, make corrections to your consolidated schedule, and re-upload it. Once we reach the total due and credits screen, we can see our total tax and fees due with this return. If we had any credit carry forward from the prior period, we would also see that here. And if we have any credit for sales tax paid on goods purchased for resale, we may enter that value here. Since we do not, we'll click Next to continue. Next is the documentation page. If an amount has been entered on the bad debt or cost of goods resold line, you'll want to add supporting documentation here. You'll also want to add supporting documentation because it's an amended return, just indicating why. So we'll click Add Attachment, enter a description of our file, browse for our file, and once our file's been selected, we'll click OK. And we'll repeat this process as many times as necessary. Once we've done so, we'll click Next to continue. Next, we're brought to the amended balance page. This page is very important, so we're going to go over each line here. There are 3 lines on this page. The first is the account balance line. This shows what your balance for this account was for the previous business day. It may not include all applicable penalties, interest, payments, and/or returns. It also does not reflect any changes you are making as a result of this amended return. The second line, difference from previous tax due, does reflect the changes you are making with this amended return. And on the third line, we ask that you add the first and second lines together and enter the result. And finally, we are asked if we'd like to make a payment now. For the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to say yes and click Next to proceed. We are brought to the payment screen, where we are asked to indicate whether our bank account is checking or savings, enter our routing number, our account number, and our account number again to confirm. We are also asked if we'd like to save this payment channel for future use. For the purposes of today's demonstration, we'll leave it as no. The payment date is going to default to today. If you are amending before the payment due date, you may future date this. If you are amending after the payment due date, you cannot go beyond today's date. The amount will default to the total amount from the third line on the previous screen. You may enter a lesser amount if you so choose. You will not be able to enter a greater amount. Either way, you'll be asked to confirm the amount again. And we'll click Next to continue. On the summary page, we'll see the information from our return. We'll review this and make sure it looks right, and click Next to proceed. Next, we're brought to the declaration page, where we are asked to check the box indicating that our return is true, correct, and complete. And we'll enter in the first and last name of the person filing this return. We'll enter the name again to confirm, and click Submit. This brings us to the confirmation screen. As always, we encourage you to make note of this information for your records. That does conclude our demonstration of how to amend a consolidated sales and use tax return. Thank you all for watching.